AskReddit. GameStop employees of Reddit, what are some of your horror stories? I was an assistant manager when one of the Madden games came out. 04, maybe? We were doing a big midnight opening for it and everybody was having a great time waiting for the game, which we were picking up from another store about 30 miles away. Around 11 o'clock, after people had been waiting for 2 hours after the mall closed, I got a phone call. The game wasn't coming. I almost broke down, sitting behind the register, dreading the thought of telling everybody that they just wasted their time. To make matters worse, another store within walking distance of us got their games. I just wanted to die that night. I am so grateful that our customers took it well and didn't get too angry. Had a couple come in to return a Sesame Street video game and a controller. They had a receipt from over a year ago. The game was scratched to hell, and the controller was full of dried soda. They said it didn't work anymore, shocker, and were furious when I wouldn't give them their money back. Like standing there screaming at me. I was the manager so I had no one else there to back me up. It was crazy. The kid was bawling, the lady was swearing like a syphilitic sailor and the husband couldn't finish his sentence. Pretty sure they were both super high too. So that was fun. When the PS2 came out I was assistant manager and my manager would sell them out of the back room at a markup. Such a snake. I took the demos box home with a copy of Halo before the system launched one night and had a 4-player all-night party. One of our other local stores had someone dig through the outside wall and steal everything out of their back room. Also, when you get done alphabetizing the Wii games and notice your hands are covered in mystery sticky stuff from all of the filthy children handling the cases. That was pretty gross. One time a woman screamed at me because her kid was tearing open a toy before paying for it and I kindly told him to wait a little bit. She seemed on the fence on whether she wanted to buy the toy or not for her kid, so you know I wasn't glad that her kid was already ripping it open. She then proceeded to scream at me for being really awful with kids, a horrible person, bad at my job, etc. Also she wanted to complain to the manager if I ever talked to her kid like that again. She then angrily paid and walked of the store. Also people tinkering modding their console and then trying to return it because it doesn't work anymore and angrily insisting on having it bought that way and messed up. Oh my god, the people who broke their consoles trying to mod. I had one woman start throwing shit at me when I refused to take her return. She also called 911 because she believed the police would make me take it back. It did get a cop out there, but he cited her for misuse of emergency services. Worked at GS a long time ago but I'll never forget this one. One night a guy brought in a really dusty and dirty GameCube wanting cash of course. I asked him if it worked and he said he didn't know because he hadn't played it in a long time. I told him that we have to check every console and when I turned it on and opened the lip about 100 roaches came running out all over the counter. Worked part-time at GameStop while I was in college. The best story I love to tell is the mom and son story. 40-ish mom and 7-10-ish boy come into the store, in a large strip mall with lots of stores, don't even look at merchandise, come up to the counter and ask to let the kid use the bathroom. Clarified she's not there to buy anything but has spent thousands of dollars in our store previously. We politely tell her we can't let customers use our bathroom because it's in the back of the store with lots of high-priced merchandise. That's the policy. We have cameras and corporate reviews the footage. Another story I have, where I was wrongfully terminated, substantiate that one. Additionally, what we don't tell her is that all the used game consoles that people sell back to us were stored in the bathroom. There was 1 month prior to Christmas I had to do some impressive yoga to get to the toilet. I'm sure those consoles were a hazmat, but I digress. But, not to be unsympathetic to this kid's plight, we tell the mom that the pizza place next door lets people use their bathroom if they buy something, and the cheapest thing is a $1 soda bottle of water. She starts flipping out on us and spewing expletives, telling us she's paid our salaries 10 times over and that we're going to hell. Yada yada yada. Then, no joke, tells her son to just go. Kid actually unzips and pees all over the carpet in front of my register. Then they left. I've never been so grossed out and dumbfounded. Had to close up for the day and half the next day while GameStop paid to have our carpets sanitized. Resulted in a loss of pay for the weekend. Wonder what happened to that kid. He's got to be in his 20s by now. TLDR. Mom let her fully potty trained son urinate on the carpet in front of the registers when we didn't allow him to use the employee bathroom in our store when there was a perfectly good bathroom for him to use in the pizza restaurant next door. I worked in a store where theft was a very common occurrence. But this one dude. He nabbed one of the cheap controllers off the wall from the back of the store, puts it in his backpack. Then comes over to the counter. He reaches across the counter, opens a drawer and steals a brand new game out of the drawer, takes it away from the register, opens it, waits in line, trades the game in for 25 bucks. Then he asks me to look for something in one of the bottom drawers and he steals back the game he just traded in a second time. After that he immediately left the store before I could notice he was gone. I got to give him credit, he had some slag balls. So many other sketchy things too, but this one I just had to laugh at. Former employee. 2 wonderful stories. Older lady brings in a bag. She looks like an addict and she wants to sell her weed. I put my hand in the bag and it's soaking wet. Cat piss. She was furious I wouldn't take it. From that day forward, made every customer take all trades out of bags themselves. My first store was long and I had a kid and mom in back. Mom wasn't paying attention at all. 8-year-old walking around. Gets really quiet. Then mom rushes the kid out of the store. Go back there and he took a shit on the floor. Watch the tape. Mom finds him squatting. Lets him finish then takes him out. I got 2 stories. Quick one is a guy who would come in all the time to ask about by obscure Vita dating sims and asking inappropriate questions like if the next Dragon Age, at this time would have been Inquisition, was going to finally have X scenes in it. Next one is New Year's Day. Miserable, I'm working already. It's super early and first customer of the day, of the whole year, is this like 7-foot tall guy who comes in asking for AV cables for a PS4 cause the one he just bought didn't have one. We immediately tell him the PS4 only uses HDMI and so it wouldn't have AV cables, even confirming with him you mean those red, yellow and white cables? He start getting mad and asks again for the cables which we again tell him don't exist. Maybe there's an adapter or something but I've never seen one and we don't have them here regardless. Maybe check Best Buy. Guy immediately starts screaming you racist motherfuckers get me this cable. I'm homeless. I just bought this thing for my grandkids. You're all racist white devil fuckers. Thankfully I froze in fear and confusion and my boss took over and just scooted the guy out the door. Hell of a way to start the year. A gentleman comes in to buy one of our old 360 bundles, used, the old system that required the HD. He brings it back a few days later and complains that it doesn't work. We start our normal troubleshooting methods and store. We couldn't figure anything out. So I do a swap, take his old system in as defective, then sell him a replacement bundle. I go through and try to wipe the system so we can ship it back to the warehouse. Cockroaches start crawling out of the system instead. I freak out. Throw the system in one of our giant shopping bags, throw that in a box, tape it shut, and throw that in another bag. My manager tells me to just shrink it out, meaning we take the loss, and destroy it in the back. I take it out to the parking lot and have to throw it around to destroy it. These cockroaches freaking scatter like marbles on a floor. I'm dancing around the parking lot on my tiptoes to avoid the flood. It was awful. Second story, one of my regulars was a skunk farmer. I will say no more. Eater. Okay, skunk farmer. I worked at a store that bordered 2 states. In state A, where the store was located, we were in a nicer area. We were extremely close to state B's rural community. State B had its own store an hour away from ours, but we were only 15 minutes from the state line. It was easier for state B residents to come to us rather than go to their own store. Mr. Skunk Farmer raised skunks. I don't know why or how, but every time I'd see him, about twice a month, he'd show me some photos of the babies, or of their new pens, or of whatever shenanigans he was trying out on the farm. I remember he wore overalls that he had his wife embroider a skunk onto the front pocket or something. I worked at GameStop for 3.5 years. We all have seen some strange things, I promise you that. If you see this image while scrolling, you have been visited by a randomly generated meme. Good luck and prosperity will come to you, but only if you comment. Not a bot on this video. Also don't forget to like and subscribe for more Reddit related videos.